Cutter top 10, Cutter top 10. You know you liked it a lot. Time to see who is the best and the worst at stuff. You know, baseball, basketball, football, hockey, NASCAR, wrestling. If I have to go, please join me. Why don't you read? This is Cutter's top 10. Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. We're ready to rumble! Oh! Hey there, Heather, ho there! It's Cutter again, and this time it's not just a top 10. It's a bigger than top 10. It's a top 15 worst matches in WrestleMania history. There are too many good matches to calculate, so I did a top 15 instead of top 10, which I normally do a top 10. Here we go. Number 15, Mark Miro and Sable versus Goldust and Luna, WrestleMania 14, Boston. This was a terrible mixed tag match, but it was to give Sable a bit of a boost. Her on-air relationship with Mark Miro was going downhill because they didn't like Mark Miro, they wanted Sable. But in the end, Sable did pin Luna for the match, which was amazing. And they all wanted Sable instead of the other wrestlers, even Goldust back then. Number 14, Red Rooster, Bobby Heenan, WrestleMania 5. Jeez, the Red Rooster, what a bad gimmick. It was a warm-up for the main event between Savage and Hogan. This was the Red Rooster, aka Terry Taylor, against Bobby the Brain Heenan, after Bobby the Brain Heenan berated him after a loss to Tito Santana. The worst part was that the match only lasted 31 seconds and Red Rooster beats Bobby Heenan. Heenan tried to go for a spear running shoulder first, but got pinned quickly. That was just amazing how fast it was. 31 seconds, jeez. Number 13, the Boogeyman versus Booker T and Sharmell, WrestleMania 22. Jeez, this was amazing. Booker T always tried to avoid wrestling the Boogeyman. And I remember on Saturday night's main event, when it was back on the air, that, Booker T faked being injured to stop facing the Boogeyman. But anyway, that's what Teddy Law decided to make him and Sharmell face the Boogeyman in WrestleMania 22. Boogeyman did his job and even pinned Booker. That was amazing how Booker T had to suffer through losing the Boogeyman. And then, I believe the same year, he won the World Heavyweight title from Rey Mysterio. Number 12, the 25 Diva Battle Royal for Miss WrestleMania, WrestleMania 25 in Houston. This was only 7 minutes and a bit. And the company didn't let a diva from even the present win, or even the past like Sable. It was actually Santino Marella dressed as his twin Santina. It was amazing. That was terrible. How did they give Santina the match? Number 11, Lawrence Taylor versus Bam Bam Bigelow. The main draw, WrestleMania 11. This was amazing. Of all the main events, this one is really the worst. And the company was in a downtrend thanks to WCW's prominence and the steroid trial. And ready to go the celebrity route, making Lawrence Taylor face Bam Bam Bigelow. The WrestleMania was in Hartford. And I guess Connecticut didn't really have any star athletes. So anyway, Lawrence Taylor couldn't wrestle past 4 minutes. It was just terrible. And Bigelow tried to make it passable, but it was a wreck. LT won thanks to his NFL pals. Number 10, Test and Albert versus Head Cheese, Snow and Blackman, WrestleMania 2000 Anaheim. This was amazing. WrestleMania 2000 was I think the only WrestleMania of all time to not have a singles match. There was like tag matches, 6-person tags, a 4-way from the main event, and the Hardcore Championship of course, being multiple people. This was amazing. Test and Albert were put together because to showcase Trish Stratus, who was a manager at that time. And it's amazing how Snow and Blackman were tag teams. Of course, Test and Albert won, and that was not needed on WrestleMania. Number 9, Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 20 in New York. Amazing how this is not the worst wrestling match of all time at a WrestleMania. But anyway, it was well known that Brock Lesnar wanted to leave the WWE to play for the Minnesota Vikings. And amazing. Well, Brock, of course, his shooting star press, which was not needed at WrestleMania 19, was probably why. And also Goldberg was on his way out, I guess because WWE had no plans for him, even though Goldberg was a dominant force in WCW. Stone Cold was the guest official and stole the show after the match, even though Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar, which I thought was unfair because Brock Lesnar should have even won. Stone Cold was the story as he laid out both men with his stunner, leaving him as the last man standing. Immediately, Stone Cold had the last laugh. Number 8, Bam Bam and Luna versus Doink and Dink, WrestleMania 10. Jeez, these mixed tag matches are huge. Not just huge, but awful. Because after all that, it was against a midget. Think the King Kong Bundy squashing little Sky Lolo at WrestleMania 3. But anyway, this was the follow-up to the Brandon Owen match. It was amazing. Bigelow did a diving headbutt on Doink. At least they didn't squash the midget. Well, and Luna was chasing around Dink and actually power slammed him. But she's a girl. What else is new? It was comedy at its worst, and the crowd was just taken out of it. Number 7, Tenryu and Kitao versus Demolition with Crush and Smash, WrestleMania 7. This was amazing. Demolition, of course, was going flat because Axe left the company because he needed to. He took an office role because of his failing health. So Crush was made an honorary member of Demolition with Smash and faces Tenryu, who was a great Japanese wrestler, and Koji Kitao. Now, if you don't know who Kitao is, he was a former Yokozuna in sumo wrestling. Honestly, he was promoted in 1987 despite him not winning too many championships. He didn't even come close to winning a title as a Yokozuna. So Kitao actually got booted out of sumo because he had a falling out with his stable master and struck the stable master's wife. And then he went to professional wrestling. So anyway, surprised as it sounds, Kitao and Tenryu actually won the match, which was amazing. I can't believe it. They beat Demolition. Number 6, Sheamus versus Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 28. This was terrible because of the length. Miami was ready to explode when Sheamus took on Daniel Bryan. Of course, Sheamus won the Royal Rumble, and strange as it sounds, I don't know why even though he won the Royal Rumble, that wasn't the main event. So anyway, the match was this. It was a kiss of death from AJ Lee to Daniel Bryan, and then Sheamus kicked Bryan with his bro kick, and then a quick pin. Time? 18 seconds. And it was kicked off, and WrestleMania 28 was kicked off. The only reason why it wasn't the main event was because of The Rock versus John Cena. And we all know what happened there. Number 5, Taz and the APA versus Right to Censor 6-man tag team match, WrestleMania 17. The company wanted to push the Right to Censor group. But of course people hated them for obvious reasons because they wanted to censor. This bout only lasted 4 minutes. And it lasted longer than it lasted shorter than the gimmick Battle Royal, which actually lasted longer. This was a filler match. JBL gave the coastline from hell to the Godfather, or as he was known in Right to Censor, the Good Father, and APA won. Thank goodness for that. Number 4, Uncle Elmer versus Adrian Adonis, WrestleMania 2. I didn't know Uncle Elmer could wrestle, but anyway, it was just a 3-minute match that Elmer just easily lost to. Adonis took a lot of bumps, but yet he still won the match. Uncle Elmer was just a gimmick, not a real wrestler. And of course, Adrian Adonis' gimmick as Gorgeous George was pitiful. And Adonis sadly died in 1988, in Newfoundland. Number 3, Aki Bono versus The Big Show, WrestleMania 21. Sad as it sounds, I kind of agree. I'm surprised that they went with a sumo match. Now, this is how the angle worked out. Because they did a SmackDown in Japan, or was it Raw and SmackDown? But anyway, they did it in Japan. Aki Bono and Big Show locked eyes on each other. And they shook hands, but then there was trouble. Big Show didn't really have a good wrestling feud in WWE. Aki Bono was 514 pounds. Amazing as it sounds, he didn't lose weight after his sumo career ended in 2000. No, 2001, I think. He ended it. But anyway, Aki Bono beat Big Show for the win. Of course, it was scripted, I guess, because they didn't want Big Show showing up the sumo world, aka, and their sumo fans, aka myself. So anyway, it was amazing how Aki Bono and Big Show, this match was huge. Strange as it sounds, it was actually placed right between the two main events. And people were just so shocked. You know, because you had the Cena JBL match for the WWE title. And then after that, you had the Batista and Triple H title match for the World Heavyweight belt. I'm still a big fan of sumo, regardless of that match. Number 2, the blindfold match between Jake Roberts and Rick Martel in WrestleMania 7. This was amazing how Rick Martel and Jake Roberts, they made a blindfold match at WrestleMania. Anyway, there was a big feud because Rick Martel sprayed some perfume into Jake Roberts' eyes. It could have been a real match and it would have been more passable. So anyway, it lasted 8 minutes and Roberts gave the DDT on Martel, which was revenge. But anyway, it was just terrible. And number 1, I hate to say this because this guy died in this year. But anyway, it's Roddy Piper versus Goldust Hollywood Battle WrestleMania 12. It wasn't really a match, it was just a chase. Piper and Goldust were just battling each other on the video screen. Goldust in his gold Cadillac tried to run down Piper, didn't work. Piper then threw Goldust around the alley and used a lot of hardcore things. The match went to a whole new low because Piper jumped into a white Ford Bronco and drove after Goldust in the Cadillac. And of course they used the 1994 O.J. Simpson chase footage, taking it to horrible. There were snippets of the chase footage. Of course, this wasn't like a 20-minute match that happened between matches. It was just ongoing. There were matches going on at the same time as Piper versus Goldust. So anyway, Piper got Goldust's outfit off to reveal Goldust was wearing a thong and fishnet. Jeez. I can't believe it. And of course, Piper was the WWE president at the time because Gorilla Monsoon got Vader bombed by Vader. And of course, Gorilla Monsoon came back to the WWE at the same time as WrestleMania 12. So there. Blech. So anyway, that's all for this top 10. There'll be another top 10 coming up very shortly.